I'm Cathy Thomas. A huge welcome to Ross Pangilinan, award-winning chef, owner of Orange County's Mix Mix Kitchen Bar and Terrace by Mix Mix, as well as Remix in Long Beach. Chef will show how to nuance the flavors in his irresistible sunchoke celery root and green apple soup. Chef, you build such beautiful, vibrant flavors in this soup.
Thank you. Yeah, we combined celery root, kind of tastes like a cross between celery and a rutabaga or turnip. Parsnips, nice and sweet when roasted, and green apple makes it kind of bright and fresh, and we combined it into a delicious soup.
Let's get started.
Absolutely. We have our parsnips, and I'll show you how I like to clean these. For me, I like to trim the bottoms and the tops, and then kind of peel them. I like to cut out the middle, just like this, because this part is kind of woody.
It's kind of like a core, isn't it?
Yeah, since this is gonna just be roasted and all blended later, it can just be rough chopped. For this soup technique, it doesn't have to be parsnips and celery root and apple. You can do the same technique with butternut squash, carrots, all kinds of vegetables, whatever you have left over in your fridge. The important thing is knowing this technique. And
Chef, don't you sometimes use sunchokes?
Yeah, sunchoke. We wanted to use sunchokes today, but we weren't able to get them, so we're substituting parsnips. But no problem, they're just as good. For the celery root, you can save the tops for stalks. So I trim it and then I peel it.
And sometimes there's like cavities that erupt on the surface and you have to get in there with a knife. This one's kind of smooth on the outside.
Yeah, just rough chop.
And are these Granny Smiths?
Yep, Granny Smith, nice and tart apple, good flavor and texture. Just cut around the core and rough chop.
So you're leaving the peel on?
Yeah, the peel is on, is okay. We're gonna start off with some light olive oil. I like cooking with olive oil, but I don't buy the most expensive olive oil because at the end of the day, you're not gonna really taste it so much. And then once it's heated up, we're gonna add onion, a few cloves of garlic. Just the onion and garlic could kind of bring everything together. This will take several minutes to add the ingredients correctly. Because if I add everything now, it's just gonna steam. I want to caramelize it a little bit.
Patience.
Exactly, yeah. Celery root. The celery root is starting to cook down a little bit. Now I'm gonna add the next ingredient, the parsnips. I'm gonna let those cook down for a few minutes. Now we're gonna add some green apple. And we're gonna let that cook out as well. I could also start the seasoning process, because we want to kind of season in layers, not really at the very end or at the very beginning, kind of slowly throughout the dish. Salt and pepper. A touch of sugar really helps bring everything together.
Yeah, gives it a nice balance.
Yep. Let it cook down a few more minutes before we add our liquid. For good flavor, you want to take your time with these first stages so the flavor really develops together. All right, so we have a little caramelization, everything's nice and cooked down. We'll add our liquid now, just to cover. We don't want to add too much. You could always add more later, but if you add too much now, you're losing a lot of flavor in the liquid.
So you want to bring this up to a simmer?
Yep, simmer until everything is nice and tender. I'm gonna work on the garnish for the soup. We're gonna make some brown butter croutons. I'm gonna add a couple cloves of garlic and thyme. The soup by itself is vegan. If you want to keep it vegan, you can leave it out.
And I always think, well, I've got all these people at the table, and I've served up the soup, and I just pass the croutons so that the vegans don't have to have it.
Good idea. We're using like a rustic Italian loaf, but anything left over that you have is fine. So the croutons will soak up a little bit of the fat, but essentially what we're doing is we're frying them in the butter.
Essentially what you're doing is making them taste really good.
Yeah.
Oh, they're beautiful.
So now we're just gonna drain them on some nice paper towel. We'll add a tiny bit of salt. Our garnish, this is gonna be like a green apple relish mixture. Make my sticks.
I like the way you left the peel on for color and flavor.
Yeah, gives it a a little different texture in some bites also. Yeah, lemon, it's gonna give it a little more acid, but also keep it from turning brown. Then I have some chives. This is black truffle oil. I much prefer black truffle oil than white truffle oil. It's not as strong. A little bit of olive oil, salt, a little bit of pepper. This, along with the croutons, will be the garnish on the soup.
I think the texture contrast that you're building here, the smooth, velvety texture of the soup, the crunchiness of the apple garnish and the croutons, really nice.
Yeah, it's gonna come together well. So we're gonna start to blend. This could be dangerous, so what you wanna do is always make sure it's on low, and then we'll gradually go up, and then we'll also season as we're doing it. What we're seasoning with is salt, pepper, sugar, a little bit of lemon, and then emulsifying a little bit of olive oil. Now we'll plate our soup. It's nice and creamy without any cream. Velvety, it's kind of the mouthfeel that I'm looking for.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And then our garnish, the fresh green apple, and some croutons.
And there it is. And it is beautiful, and I know delicious.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chef.
Thanks for having me.
Here's a quick tip from Melissa's. Large, mature bok choy can be successfully roasted, but I prefer the baby-sized beauties. Cut bok choy in half lengthwise. Swirl in a bowl of cold water and drain. Pat dry. High heat roasting caramelizes half baby bok choy, lending an alluring sweet edge. It starts out with a gentle, mustard-like flavor, but roasting tames much of that sharpness. The process creates a texture contrast, transforming the tender leaves to a potato chip crunchiness, the broad base to a moist succulence. It's the best way to cook it. While the bok choy is in the oven, make a quick 5-ingredient ginger sauce to pour over the vegetables. If you like, place cooked rice under the roasted bok choy to catch the excess sauce. Get the recipe at cathythomascooks.com.